trucking company on a collision course. What do you think of this? If you watch any of my content, I always say stay away from restaurants, stay away from construction or trucking companies. And yet we were contacted by a trucking company who's actually looking to purchase other trucking companies. And I'm thinking, why would they do this? For the last 20 years, I've been advising my trucking clients to get out of the industry and get into something more profitable. And yet this company is actively getting into the trucking industry and buying other trucking companies. Well, they're saying it's to get assets at a reduced price and also to get contracts, which in another industry is a pretty good strategy, especially in the HVAC industry, because it's very difficult to find licensed technicians. And it's a good way to get, trucks and equipment at a fairly decent price, already branded. And when you're getting contracts, see, in the HVAC industry, a lot of times you're buying 2 to 5 year contracts that are maintenance or preventative maintenance related. But in the trucking industry, with all the clauses in the contracts, one bad performance and the contract is canceled, even if they will sign a contract, because nobody signs contracts in the trucking industry anymore because everybody wants the lowest bidder on every load. Unless you're doing, wide loads or long loads or specialty loads. Otherwise, you want the lowest bidder. And it's the brokers that are making any money. If there's money to be made in the trucking industry, it tends to be the brokers. So I don't understand the strategy. And perhaps he doesn't see where the trucking industry has been going for the last 20 years. And I find most companies don't look at statistics, right? Statistics are very clear in the trucking industry. Yes, it used to be very profitable 30 or 40 years ago, when we started in the consulting industry, but today everyone's struggling, and nobody measures return on capital investment. Look how much capital you need to buy the trucks, the trailers, the wide trailers, the warehouse, the maintenance facility. A lot of times they're doing their own repairs, brake jobs and changing the tires and stuff like that. And a lot of times they have their own mechanic facility, diesel repair shop within. They're thinking they're saving money that way. So I really don't understand this strategy, and I'm a bit conflicted because I truly believe it's a bad strategy. They haven't given me a reason why it's a good strategy. So do I save my own skin and say, this is a bad strategy? And, even if it might be half decent for the next couple of years, what happens in 5 years when you try and sell the company and there's no buyers? And the buyers are going to want, 30 cents on the dollar or 40 cents on the dollar. I'm not sure this makes sense. And here's the biggest problem. They don't compare return on capital investment with other businesses. Every time I work with a new client, or every time I work with a new client that wants to start a business, we always start with 2 different spreadsheets. Skills and asset inventory, and comparing 10 or 12 different businesses together, and measuring those businesses in at least 20 different ways. The first one being quality of life. Right? Can I run this business from my cottage or my sailboat? And so on. And can I exit within 3 or 5 years? Right? And is this an industry that's growing or dying? The trucking industry definitely is dying. And I know there's going to be people in the comments, yeah, but Leo, people have to eat. Goods have to be shipped from here and there. But if you look at, a lot of the industries are going to just-in-time delivery. And a lot of industry, especially the vertical farming, are getting closer to the client. So, I would say within the next 5 or 10 years, vegetables are going to be grown in apartment building basements to eliminate the trucking. And it's going to be organic, and it's going to be an elevator ride to the consumer. So a lot of the trucking is going to be eliminated in certain aspects. And when you look at 3D printing, when you look at a lot of the, you can even 3D print a car now. So a lot of the trucking is going to be eliminated because it's not sustainable. So help me out here. Should I get involved in this company? Or should I do my best to try and convince them to get into a more profitable industry? I mean, the trucking industry at the good times was 8 to 10% net profit. Today, it's 2 to 5%. 3 years from now, it might be 1 to 3% if they make a profit at all. But when you factor in return on capital investment, they're always underwater. It makes no sense. I don't get it. I really don't get it, how we're making business decisions these days. Are these business decisions or emotional freaking decisions? Like, what kind of decisions are we making? And why are we looking at statistics, and why aren't we looking at other industries for opportunities, right? For example, there are millions and millions of millionaires being created in AI. Millions and millions. It's already happening. Why aren't we getting into artificial intelligence? Why are we going to, boring businesses, which is fine, right? But what about, bookkeeping, accounting? These companies are struggling. Most companies today are struggling because they don't know how to use AI. They don't know how to use social media. They don't know how to use leverage tools. They don't even know how to use software. They don't know how to, get the best out of their employees. So those industries are growing massively, especially anything to do with artificial intelligence, especially anything to do with disruption. Disruption industries are growing like crazy. So, and this is why I force all my clients to do the spreadsheets, compare, look at statistics, look at the proven strategies, look at the leverage tools available. There are billionaires being created in the AI space. And no, it's not saturated, because it generally takes 5 or 10 years for people to adapt. Look at how many people it took to even develop a website or use. Most companies still don't use social media. How long has social media been around, right? So it takes a long time for people to adapt, and it's not too late to get into the AI space, or at least diversify into some of these other businesses, so your return on capital investment at least looks better on paper. I would love to get some advice. Should I get involved in this business, or is this something I should avoid because it causes me stress? Because I know these owners won't sleep well at night thinking about, okay, we're just spending a couple of $100,000 on buying a bunch of equipment. Are we going to make any money? And they're going to lose sleep, which means I'm going to lose sleep. So would love to hear your comments below. If you're in the trucking industry, let me know. If you're outside, but let me know what you think I should do in this particular situation, because clearly I am lost. Type AI, type trucking below. Let me know where your head's at. We'll talk soon.